Hi guys, good evening. It's me, Dr. Jenny Yusuf, physical therapist and doctor of physical therapy, creator and founder of Balance and Fall Support Group in Aging Adults, and the vice chair of Global Health in Aging Adults. So it's another, thanks God, it's Thursday. So every Thursday, we highlight physical therapists like us, academicians, innovators, and some entrepreneurs as well. So for tonight, we have the opportunity to know more Dr. Myles Quiben. She is a physical therapist, PhD, and she's a dual clinical specialist. She's both neurology clinical specialist and also specialist in geriatrics. Imagine that. So more and more therapists are now being dual. Some are GCS and OCS, but Dr. Myles is a PhD. She is an educator and also received lots of awards in geriatric and also in educational platform because she's a professor and she's based in Texas. But before doing that, we will going to highlight all her awards. Imagine that. So imagine, let's say, Dr. Myles is a fellow of the Education Leadership Institute. It is the National Academies of Practice and also in Texas Physical Therapy Association. She's very active there and also received the APTA Black Key Carlin Award for Excellence in Academic Teaching. All right, because she's a professor. And also an APTA or APTA Lucy Blair Award. So more of us are familiar with this award, right? For service and the APTA Geriatric Distinguished Educator Award and President's Award. Imagine. So these are the things that, how come a physical therapist, a motivator, and also educator, what are her inspirations? How she balanced all of this in her personal life, those are the things that we are going to ask about. And also, what are the tips that we can learn if you want to pursue in that leadership role and also in a teaching role. So without further ado, welcome, Dr. Myles. Thank you so much for your time. Welcome.
Hi, Jenny. Yeah, thank you. Those are very kind, wonderful words. Really, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to network with a bigger group of individuals, like-minded individuals who are very much interested in balance, in older adults, and really talking about how do we get better as physical therapists, but really even at the human level, right? So thank you. Those are very kind words. And I look forward to getting to know you, getting to know this group, and sharing whatever tips, like you said, might be out there. So I don't know. I think I live a pretty boring life, but let's see how it goes.
Yes, it's not even complete because I just highlight the bottom of her bio. And then we're going to ask Dr. Myles. So Dr. Myles, what are you doing right now and how many years you are as a physical therapist? And I know you are based in Texas and a professor. So tell us more about that.
So hello from Fort Worth. I'm in Fort Worth, Texas right now. Been here for, oh dear, almost 10 years at the University of North Texas Health Science Center. And prior to that, I was at University of Texas in San Antonio, where I finished my geriatrics fellowship and completed a master's in clinical investigation. So I'm currently professor here. I teach in many areas, but really simulation, a lot of simulation in cardiopulmonary class, pharmacology, neuro. I will be teaching neuroscience and neuroanatomy in the coming spring semester. The students don't know that yet, so they're probably going to be very surprised to see me in that course. Therapeutic exercise, and basically wherever I'm needed at the department right now is what I teach. I am also currently still active in clinic, so I never left clinic. That's one of my passions. I don't think I can ever give up clinic because that's what we were trained to do, right? So my clinical practice is primarily an outpatient geri ortho and inpatient rehab, which I think informs a lot of what I do in scholarship, but also in what I teach because I see patients all the time. I mean, it's interesting you talked about highlighting innovators and entrepreneurs. And I think every physical therapist and definitely every educator is considered an innovator entrepreneur. So one of my interests right now has put me working with Techstars, which is an incubator for founders. And right now I'm working with several founders that are working on products related to physical health, rehabilitation, and physical therapy. So that's one of the things that I'm very interested in working with these individuals and looking at AI, artificial intelligence in physical therapy education and in practice, and then some rehabilitation tools that can make life easier for patients and therapists. So what else? Service. I think you highlighted some of my service. So I am active at TPTA, APTA Geriatrics, APTA Neuro, also now APTA Education, because I've been in education for quite a while. I'm a CI instructor for our CIs because I strongly believe in giving back to a lot of clinicians who really spend a lot of their time giving back to our students, unpaid service. So I train CIs for that. Where else, and all the other little things. FCCPT is something that I am very much involved in, and I'm very blessed to have that opportunity to bring the experience of a foreign educated physical therapist into the conversation. So I've been blessed in many, many ways. And the busyness of life there is manageable if you have fun and you know what matters most.
Yeah, that's amazing. Imagine that. So we have 24 hours, and I don't know how you can you can balance the physical therapy, teaching, and also the outpatient. What is your typical 1 week, Dr. Myles?
I get well. So let me clarify that first. My personality has always been I like to be involved in different things, and you can be involved in many things, but not all at one time, right?
Yes, it's like
So in
circular.
cycles, right? So a week for me might be let's just try out this week. Yesterday I was working with Techstars founders. I was working with students. That was my whole day yesterday, trying to figure out what we were going to do for their research project. I was meeting with faculty, preparing what we're going to do for next fall, next spring. Sorry, so next spring. That was my day, right? But interspersed with that, I was also working on a presentation for the Texas Physical Therapy Conference, which is happening over the weekend. So you find snippets of that there. Today, it was a lot of meetings again with founders again, and more in the research component, and writing groups, because I do love to write, and I think that's one of my passions is if I can contribute to the research, I would love to do that. And so I was meeting with my groups, my collaborators, and saying, what are we going to do with this presentation at CSM? What are we going to do with this paper that we're writing for this project, and that sort of thing. And again, working on TPTA. Oh, and then cooking. I have to cook dinner. So, those things. Tomorrow, what will I be doing tomorrow? Working on stuff for school, more administrative stuff. And in between that week, there's the presentation. In between that week, I have to talk to people in a different component, not in physical therapy, but outside that I'm doing project with. And during that time, you got to find time to do what you like to do. So that means you want to play the piano, go for it. You have to exercise. You have to be active. I think that's what keeps me sane. So if you like to run, which I like to do, I run. If you like to do yoga, I'll do it. But you got to find time to do the other things outside of your work. And that keeps me motivated. And then over the weekend, last weekend, I worked in the clinic. So do you see that you are involved in many things, but not all at one time?
Okay.
And that keeps me up on my feet and motivated, because to me, being in clinic, for example, relaxes me. Cooking relaxes me, gardening relaxes me. So you got to find those snippets in time to do the things that matter to you, and try to take time to quiet your mind.
Yeah. And
So
the most important thing there, Doc Miles, is that you need to love what you're doing, right? Because
yeah,
because there's a passion in everything. So your passion is to teach and you love to help other clinicians. That's why you're in the credentialed clinical instructor. And then you love to meet other people. So you're in CAA as well as one
yeah,
of the
yeah.
instructors, like you're socializing and teaching as well. Of course, the leadership, because it's giving back as well, and part of the leadership is very important because that's how we grow. And then speaking of that, because you say something about research, and you're like Mariana Winggood, I talked
Yes.
about her before. I haven't met Jennifer, but I know you work together in some of that's lots of research, fall preventions, lots of about geriatrics. So thank you so much for all that you do. So can you tell us more? What will be the first step for us as a clinician to learn more about research or writing? Because this needs
Mm,
a skill. So we're
right,
a clinician, and then every time I hear about the word research, when we're just, oh my God, research, something like it's
right, right.
complicated, right? But how
It's
can we
huge,
do that?
right? I think the first question would be, if you are interested in research, what's
Mhm.
your background? Well, in a way, it's like akin to what is your scope of practice? Were you trained in research? And it's not, if you weren't trained in research, it doesn't mean you can't do it. It just means you have to find ways to learn a little bit more about it. Either you're back in school, that's part of your programming. You either, and if you truly want to do clinical research, then you explore, what does it mean if I take a doctor of health science degree? That's more of your research, can be research based. Or if you really want to do academic research or the other types of research, then is a PhD in line. And if
Yes.
you don't want to do and get another degree, one of the easiest ways to do it is to partner with your academic sites or somebody who has that background in research. As an academic, we love to think about all these things that we want to do, but we're not in the clinic like you are, with like most people are. And so if we wanted to test something in the clinic, guess who we're going to run to? You, the people in the
Mhm.
clinic. And so having that knowledge of people, that network of people who might be interested. And if you have an interest area and you say, hey, is this feasible? Talk with people in academic programs, network with people at APTA, at CSM, in geriatrics, in neuro, in groups like this, and find out, hey, what are they doing? Can I get involved in that? And if the research bug bites you,
Mhm.
then that's the way you start thinking, oh, should I go for a degree in XYZ? There's so many degrees right now out there. And a PhD is not the only route. It used to be, it's
Mhm.
like you can do
Yes.
research, you can go do a PhD. Now, if you want to go, I want to do some more clinical, a doctor of health science a degree or a doctor of science in
Mhm.
physical therapy might be a route that you might do, which is different from a doctor of physical therapy, right? It's
Yes.
different from a
Yes.
DPT. A DPT is a very clinical degree.
Yes.
Um, so there are different routes to do. And I would encourage anyone who has a burning question but doesn't have the time or the knowledge to do the specifics, go and reach out to academics or to people that do the research.
That's amazing. How about a
Yeah.
book or like a first, or like as a first timer, just getting to know the first step, learning more about the typical stage one of learning for a research. Can you give us simple books that they want to do a little bit more about it? Like,
Yeah, there's so many research books out there. I mean, I can go to the library right now. My library is
you have.
and pull out all the books right now. One of the first book that comes to mind is considered one of the gold standards in PT research, which is oh my God, it's gonna kill me right now. Portney, the Portney book, the
Oh,
green,
yes. Mm-hmm.
Portney's book right now. But there are other books that we use, and on top of my head, like I said, I can pull it out of my library. Evidence-based practice by
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Jewel is one, and there's many more. but I would think, get into the basics first.
Yeah, the
And
basics.
yeah, get into the idea of one, I think if you even try and Google something or find something, what are the basics of research?
Yeah, basics. And also the website, Doc Myles. Like
Yes,
what's
your
the
website.
website that comes to your mind that we can use? Like,
Well, there's always there's research. You can find it in APTA, right? APTA education
oh,
definitely has
okay.
some of that. I think it depends on where you're starting from, because
Gotcha.
we get this much of research in your bachelor's. When I started in my bachelor program, we got this much of research because we had to do a full-on dissertation. Right?
Uh-huh.
Years ago.
Yes, yes, in
So you
PhD.
have some knowledge of research, even at the bachelor's level, at least from my training. And then you go into a DPT program. And even in a DPT program, there is this much research because in the DPT program, you have to know the basics of evidence-based practice.
Yes.
So that in itself is enough to move you forward. And if you want really to delve more, then that's when
That's
maybe go into more specific courses, more specific books on that and that sort of thing. So yeah, if anybody's interested, hit me up for the list of books on research. I'll be happy to share that with you.
yeah. And also we talk about when I introduced Doc Myles, she has lots of awards, APTA, and also this awards. So congratulations on all your leadership awards and
Thank you.
also your being an educator and also all your contributions. But why do you want to be part of the leadership? What motivates you or inspires you to give back or serve?
To serve, well, for one thing, I think physical therapy, this profession has really given so much to myself, to me and to my family in terms of opportunities and where we are. And to me, giving back to a profession that has given so much to me is just the next step. It's natural to do that. So in a way, it's a way of thanks. It's a way of, if you have something in you that will benefit other individuals and you have the capacity to do that, why not?
Love
Right?
that. Yeah.
Many of us, I in particular, never thought, if you asked me 20 years ago, how many years when I was still in PT school, what would the next 20 years look like for you? I would never say I envision myself as this, and that, or doing the things that I do. And somewhere along the way, you will meet people who will provide you those opportunities or will nudge you and say, hey, have you thought about that? And when you meet those individuals, that means that they see something in you that might not be as clear to you as possible. Take note of that, because that's how I got involved very early on. I was asked, are
Yes.
you interested in this? And I go, sure, never thought of it, but sure, right? Or people would say, you'd be perfect for this. And I
Yes.
go, all right. So you gotta be open to those. And then the other piece is you gotta be brave enough to do the things that you're not comfortable with.
Yes.
Because you'll never know if that's something that you truly want to do. Running for office, for example, when you run for elections or you put your name in the hat, you never know if you're going to be successful. But getting there to that point it takes courage. You know, you never know what's going to happen. And if you ever get into that position of, hey, I want and I can serve, then you absorb and learn as much as you can. So the first step is, I think, just be open to what's out there. Always be looking. Know yourself. I think you got to know what your skills are, what areas you need to work on. And when it opens, jump. Be brave enough to jump.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you really need to jump for
Yeah,
you
I think
to.
so. Yep. And I give that message, especially to women leaders and women who are thinking about the next leadership position or thinking about the next degree. Because many women will not speak out or will wait for the perfect time or will wait until they're perfect right? There's literature on that, and that's written already about the differences in male leadership and female leadership, where the male leader might tick off, let's say, 5 of the 10 criteria that's being asked in a job, and yet they will apply because they have the confidence to say, I can do that. A female applicant, a female leader, might hit all 9 out of the 10, but will not apply. And it's because, one, we were probably not groomed to take on leadership positions, but also the idea of, I'm not ready, right? I'm not perfect. I'm not there yet. And they won't take that jump. So I really encourage female leaders, female therapists, females in general, women, take note of that and see where you are and jump.
Yes,
That's one of
that's
the
a great
things I think
point.
is a guiding principle on when I look at things is, what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? Right? What would you do? Would you try it? And most likely you'd be like, yeah, I'll try it. If I knew I'm going to win, if I knew I'm going to be successful, sure, I'll do it. But if you're afraid of failure, which failures are just the crucible moments where you're going to learn something about yourself, then you'll never know what you're capable of if you don't try.
Like that. Thank you so much, Dr. Mice. And also in the highlights, you send us like what are your tips for the balance and falls. I like also about the courage, you remember that what you're talking right now is partly part of that. And then also integrity when nobody looks at you. Can you tell us those 3 tips that
Oh, sure.
yes, because I love it. Although we will post it soon, but for all our listeners, that's a great tips for everybody.
Right. I think your question was more on the philosophy of your life.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, how do I break it down? And I think 3 of my top values
Yes.
really guide the decisions that I make and what I do in daily life, and that's integrity. So if no one was looking, what would you do? And I always say, do the right thing, even if, and especially when no one is looking, because that really speaks to your character, right? And then just be kind to people. Kindness goes a very long way. So that's integrity. The second one is courage that we talked about. Jump. You must try or you'll never know. What would you do if you knew that you couldn't fail, or that there's a net that will catch you? What would you do? Okay, so that speaks to courage. And the last one is excellence. If you're going to do something once, do it well. And Saint Mother Teresa says it a little bit differently when she said, do ordinary things with extraordinary love. And so to me, if you're going to do it once, people may not care what the quality is, but I know, right? So in whatever you do, be it clinical practice, I'm only going to see this patient maybe once. I'm going to encounter them once in my lifetime, and I want to make sure that I do good by them, right?
Yes, I like that. So you will do only good. And there's also an opportunity that will knock once. So
Yes.
do your best, right? So, and then more and more, because it also talks about you as a person, especially do your best. Thank you so much, Doc Mas. That's
Okay.
all inspiring. We have just a short time, but definitely those are really amazing characters and also tips, because we talk about research, we talk about leadership, and then now we touch base a little bit as a person, so that can mold us as a better clinician as a whole, as a person, as a clinician. So thank you so much. If our last question, because we are also balance and falls, what are your most favorite balance exercise or balance tips for all the people watching right now, because this will be also posted on YouTube, so it's public.
My
So if
goodness.
you're
Okay.
listening, yeah,
Well, I
balance
guess
exercise.
it varies, right? So if you're
Yes.
asking me as a physical therapist,
Mm-hmm.
I guess my number one tip is do a very thorough assessment and listen to
Okay.
your patients. Listen to what they're not saying, because you're going to really learn a lot about being curious to exactly what you need to work on for that individual and what matters most to that individual. Not everybody needs to walk 150 feet, right? And not everybody needs to do 12 steps at a time, to 12 stairs. But they may want to go on a cruise with their granddaughter, or walk somebody down the aisle. Very many times I've heard that from my patients. So you got to find out what you need to do. As a therapist, we move a lot. So from a balance standpoint, and I think as we age, we kind of notice, man, I don't dance the way I do when I was in my 20s, or I don't balance the way I do. So know that your body will change with time, and do what motivates you, but you got to move, whatever that movement means. You want to run, you want to bike, you want to box something, whatever moves you, you got to try and move something every day, because that helps. Not only with just physical, but mental and cognitive, and doing all the fun things that you have to do, and get out on nature. There's something about the
That's really
water, or
nice.
being in the trees and being in a lake. There's something about nature that heals you. And I don't remember the exact phrase of, there's a phrase that they coined about getting out there and getting healed by nature, but that's something. And then for patients, my most favorite part that I tell my patients is, you just got to get up and start slow. Start slow and do something. And if it means standing while you're watching TV, that's it, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you can do something better than that, now you march. Now you can do something better than that. Give me a 30 seconds, sit to chair, stand, or something. But you got to start somewhere. And I think that's one of the things as physical therapists and people who exercise. The term exercise, the word exercise, kind of blows people off the wrong way. It carries a negative connotation. So maybe if we can rephrase that and say, let's just get you physically active first, right? Do what motivates you, do what's fun for you, and just move. And then later, the structured exercise can come in, but just get up and move.
Yeah. So it's really good, especially a good rephrasing or a good word when you see a patient and then you will say, I'm your physical therapist, let's exercise. And then what if we rephrase that so there's will be more compliance and less refusal? Oh,
Yeah.
like, hi, how are you? Let's get up and then I'll show you something, Yeah,
Right.
and then that's
Let's just
walking
get you
already,
moving. Right. Let's just get you moving. Let's just get you
Yeah.
moving.
And then
What do you
that's
like to
it.
do? Yep, that's it.
And then especially there are always techniques that they don't want to be asked to, like order. So just go with the flow, be with them, like be part of them, not only them doing the exercise, you do it together. So they will say, oh, this is not really an exercise thing, like we're just having fun. And I
Right,
always
right.
put music in all my therapy. So
Yeah.
yeah, so they will think that so boring, but when there's a tempo, everything will be quick and fun. And that part of the dopamine is being also like innervated and happy hormone there. So also activated. So that's also make fun with them. So these things.
Music and gamification is always a fun
Yes.
thing to do, right? So I
Yeah.
say, pull out all those tools that you have in your toolkit and just get people moving. Just get moving.
Yeah. Lots of app right now
Yes,
nowadays.
yes, yes. A
Yeah.
lot of those apps right now. So again, always be on the lookout. Be curious at what's out there.
Yes, I always use for the balance. I have this clock yourself app
Oh
for that.
yes,
Yes,
I have that
so
too on my
just for
phone, right?
cognition and then the balance. So I really enjoy that. And then I just go to YouTube. I just choose any music, and I always choose I want to dance with somebody
That's in
because
one of my
yes,
exercise music, right?
any
Right.
upbeat. And then when during the cool down, I choose again any piano, relaxing music. Then we do a little bit of Tai Chi, chair Tai Chi.
Tai Chi,
Just
yoga.
something, yes. So just like fun and everything just like now. So we appreciate all the contributions you did, Dr. Myles, all the research you're doing, because we really appreciate your leadership and congratulations on all your awards and being a recipient and being an educator. I hope you continue helping us, give us all those learning, teach us, and looking forward to hear from you more. So
Thank you.
can we connect with you and how can we connect with you? Just tell us
Yep.
more about it.
You can connect with me through my Gmail account. I'm going to leave that with you, or through my university email. I always tell people, give me at least 48 hours at the most to connect with you. And if I don't answer back, do it again, because it's likely buried or I forgot something and I didn't see it, but I will connect with you as much as I can. And again, Jenny, I really, really appreciate this opportunity. Thank you very much for your very kind words. Thank you.
You're
There's so
welcome.
much more to do, so much more to learn. So I look forward to meeting new people through this network, and then eventually us getting together at one point in time, and
Yeah.
maybe we can work on something together down the road.
Yes. So that's it, guys. So that's Dr. Myles Quiben. She is a physical therapist, doctor of physical therapy, a PhD, an educator, and also leader. So if you want to connect with her, I'll post her Gmail here. And definitely she is all over in Facebook, LinkedIn. So connect with her, okay? All right. If you have any questions, connect with us. It's me again, Dr. Jenny Yusuf, physical therapist and doctor of physical therapy, creator and founder of Balance and Fall Support Group and Physiogen PT and Wellness. Thank you so much for listening, and next week again. Bye for now, guys. Thank you, Doc
Thanks, everyone.
Myles.